Record to cloud. All right, it should be recording, right?
Yep.
All right, perfect. I'm assuming they can just edit this part out, so give me 1 second. All right. Welcome back, everyone, to the Yards After the Catch podcast. Here to recap all the Week 15 action, look ahead to some of the Week 16 action. A little bit of a switch tonight. For those who don't know me, my name's Robert. I'll be your host tonight. Unfortunately, both the Alexes had prior commitments, so they weren't able to make it tonight. I'm going to try to steer this ship the best I can, but I'll apologize in advance for any slip-ups or any dead time, I should say. But luckily, I have a couple of familiar faces on the pod tonight. So we got Mark and Nico here tonight just to kind of help talk us through all this Week 15 and upcoming Week 16 action as we get a little bit closer to the playoffs. So, Mark, Nico, how we doing, boys?
Doing good.
Good.
You're going to do fine, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're all
We're
hoping.
We're
all hoping.
A lot of good content.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a good week in the NFL, it kind of just makes it a lot easier. If it was one of the previous weeks, I'd be like, so anybody catch the NBA Cup or what? But so, yep. Anyway, let's just hop right into the action. We're going to start off Thursday night, little NFC South matchup. We got Falcons against the Bucks. Somewhat of a surprising result, I think most people would say. I mean, it was really a game going into the week. I think the Bucks needed to win, so they obviously got helped out with the Panthers down in New Orleans not winning as well. So they're still in control of the NFC South as of right now. But yeah, weird game overall. Captain Kirk, who knows? He seems like he's playing for a contract next year. I mean, played well too, so some team's definitely going to take a flyer on him. Or he might just stay on the Falcons. You never know with Penix's injury. But let's start off with Mark. Mark, how'd you enjoy your Thursday night football action?
I was kind of pleasantly surprised by this game. I think it's just continuing to prove that NFC South is the worst division in football. It's like whenever one of these teams should win and run away with the division, one of the subordinates, basement dwellers, comes up and beats them. It's like it happened in both games for the NFC South this weekend. It's just funny. But yeah, Cousins playing for his career really, and he's showing why. I mean, he should be starting in this league at least based on that performance. Will Atlanta give him up? Yeah, it's going to be tougher now with Penix injured again. I mean, I'm sure the Vikings would love to have him back in that room. I mean, we'll see what happens with JJ, but yeah, no, it was a great game. It's a classic divisional matchup. I think Thursday night games, especially the divisional ones, have been more of the entertaining games this year.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny because you really never know what to expect on those Thursday night games, and this week was just a perfect example of it. But Nico, what's going on, man? How'd you like the game Thursday? Hopefully, made some money on it somewhere.
Yeah. Fortunately, I did it, but it was a great game. I had the under in this game. Definitely turned out to more of a shooter. But yeah. Again, it's just another example that we say, I feel like week in and week out on this podcast, everyone says it. It's just teams not putting other teams away. Tampa Bay being up 14 points in the fourth quarter and just can't finish the job. It just can't happen in this league. Baker can only save you so many times. But my big takeaway is, as everyone knows, fantasy football playoffs started this week. A lot of those teams that snuck in with the 6th seed with Kyle Pitts in the lineup, a little 45 points is unbelievable. But yeah, overall, for the sake of the NFL, like crazy game, as Mark mentioned, like is the NFC South just consistently the worst division or what? Like it is very tough. Like it's just tough. It's tough week in and week out.
For sure. And it's funny you say the Kyle Pitts thing because, obviously when he first came out of the draft a few years ago, I think he was going like as first or second tight end in a lot of fantasy drafts. And, it took a couple of years, but I guess it finally paid off. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. But, all right, Thursday nights, whatever. Let's get into the Pats Bills game. I think that was the marquee game of the weekend, excuse me. Personal opinion, not great, but as a Pats fan, you might imagine I have some thoughts on the game, but I actually want to go to Mark first, our resident Bills fan here. Me and Mark actually watched the game together. I think we kept it pretty civil for the most part. No punches were thrown or anything, so that's good. But Mark, how'd you enjoy that game? I'm assuming more than me. So,
I enjoyed the second half, that's for sure.
mhm.
And they were down 21 zip in the second quarter, and I was like, if they don't score here, like, that's it. Like you can kiss the division goodbye. Had some T-shirts going around in Foxborough. I know that's exactly what they
Mm,
wanted. I mean, and
of
I still
course.
think they're going to win the division. I mean, they're still favored to. It's just the Bills didn't want to see that in front of them in Foxborough. You know, it's. I think they were playing for pride more than anything, and showed in the late second quarter and second half. I mean, 5 straight touchdown drives doesn't just come out of nowhere. Um, Still concerned with the defense. It's just an ongoing issue, the run defense. Travion Henderson breaking out 2 long touchdown runs. Um, yeah, we're still in the division race, but I'm not expecting it. I mean, we'll see what happens. I guess maybe the Patriots could lose to the Dolphins, and if the Bills went out, I guess that's the way to do it. But I mean,
Right.
just play for the playoffs. If you get in, you're at the dance, and anything can happen. And
Right.
I think the Patriots are just kind of feeling the losses of Milton Williams, Spillane, Will Campbell. Bill's got a little bit of pressure to the quarterback, like Matt Milano had 2 sacks. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, just it was looking very very bright at the beginning for New England, but Josh Allen reminded Patriots fans he's still that guy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, as I was watching it, even when the Pats were up 21 nothing, Josh Allen is just one of those QBs now where it's just like even when you have a 21 nothing lead, you're kind of just like, well, this game still isn't over. And I think for pretty much almost every other quarterback in the league, you could when your team's up 21 nothing, you're not expecting the other one to come back. But I'll talk a little bit more about it. But Nico, what were your thoughts on this game as the neutral party here?
Yeah, I'll let you two hash it out, but yeah, my the one thing I could say as a fan, this is something to be really excited about. Like just to think about the next 5 year stretch of this rivalry, with Drake May and Josh Allen. Like this is something going to be special. It kind of reminds me of like just like that old school I don't know, they were playing in the division, but like when Rodgers got to play Tom Brady, like not saying that they're that great, but like 2 top 5 quarterbacks consistently, or like a couple years back, like Mahomes versus Burrow, something like that. I think there's something really, really nice going on here. But yeah, 2 great games in the series. Like the Sunday night football game earlier in the year was phenomenal. This game on Sunday was great, but as you both kind of said, like there's just something about Josh Allen. Like you never felt like that game was over at any point. So I can imagine, Robert, as a Patriots fan, like you were never comfortable to begin with, but I really just don't think that uh, I just think Drake May is there, but I really think it's still Josh Allen's division and team, even though if they don't win it, I think Drake May is just like a year or two away. I think he is MVP caliber player, but I think he's a year or two away to be like, it's my AFC East, this is my division.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with you. Like, I agree with that. I think he's maybe a year, even two away, just because he played okay. Obviously, he had a couple rushing touchdowns, and he did have one pick where it was one of those ones where I think it was on like a third and long, so he kind of just threw it up.
It was an arm
But
punt.
yeah, exactly. So, um, but going back to kind of what Mark was saying, like with the Bills defense, obviously Travion Henderson just exploded in this game. 14 carries, 148 yards, 2 long touchdown runs. And it's one of those things where the AFC is in such a weird spot right now, where obviously you have the Broncos as the 1 seed. And to be honest, they impressed me against the Packers this weekend for sure. But I just would have to imagine, like Mark, you as a Bills fan, it's the AFC is shaped up at least so far pretty good for you guys. Where I think a lot of like the real competition is going to be more so in the NFC, and obviously the Packers losing Parsons this weekend. We're going to get into that a little bit later, talking about him and Mahomes both unfortunately going down with ACL injuries. And how that kind of impacts the rest of the year going forward. But like what Mark was saying, Patriots they still can win the division, but this week is going to really tell us a lot. They're going to be playing the Ravens, got flexed to Sunday Night Football, and the Ravens have been up and down all year, but that's easily a game. Milton Williams, this is going to be the last week before he's back against the Jets. So it really is just like a tale of two defenses from when we had Milton Williams to when we now that we don't. And honestly, a lot of it is the rushing attack. Like James Cook had a phenomenal game for the Bills too. It seemed like every time he touched the ball, he was getting 6-7 yards at the minimum. And obviously, when you have a player of the caliber of like a Milton Williams, he's going to stuff up those run lanes a little more than that. But yeah, when it was 21-0, I was literally just sitting there and like obviously I was happy, but at the same time I was still a little guarded just because I was like, I don't know, man. Like I could see this just being a 21 like a 21-14 game at halftime so easily. So yeah, I mean the AFC East though, years to come, it should be pretty fun. And go ahead, Mark. Finally, right?
That's fair.
We thought it was going to be the Bills and the Dolphins for years to come, but Tua now is backing up Quinn Ewers, so that's all that really needs to be said about that.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on. Going to go to another good game, kind of almost like an opposite game where it was really like a defensive struggle for most of it, and that's going to be the Chargers against Kansas City. And obviously, when Mahomes goes down at the end with that ACL injury, the game is almost secondary at that point, just because your mind, it's hard to immediately not go into, well, the Chiefs weren't probably going to make a run this year anyway, and it still would have been tough for them to make the playoffs. I mean, they still might have lost that game against the Chargers, even with you had Mahomes for the last minute or two. But yeah, let's go with Nico here. Nico, what are your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, obviously, like story of the game, Mahomes is just terrible to see. Like you never want to see a player of that caliber, especially ACL injury, which I'm on the best recovery. But yeah, as a Charger, if you're a Chargers fan, like I'm excited about this team. This team could beat any single team. You're in every single game. Sloppy performance, but again, Harbaugh and his boys, you pull it out. So it wasn't pretty, but it's one of those division games that are never pretty, but it's a big win that you need to have. And yeah, Chargers coming in a wild card. It's going to be an interesting spot come a week or two from now to see where they shape out in the standings.
No, for sure. And it's interesting because obviously Herbert's playing injured right now as well. He's got the broken hand on the non-throwing hand. And when you see him get hit, he definitely is guarding that hand. So it's hard to imagine that isn't affecting him at a pretty bad time for the Chargers as well. But let's go over to Mark. Mark, what'd you think about this one?
I think this was just another classic divisional showdown. For the Chiefs, end of the dynasty or just a pause? It's kind of hard to tell. Lots of questions about that team going forward. I mean, Travis Kelce, does he stick around? What do they do? Do they stick with Gardner Minshew for the beginning of the next season? Is Andy Reid going to retire soon? There's a lot to be answered. So we'll see what happens with them. But kind of like Nico said, LA just kind of grinded it out, running the ball like Jim Harbaugh likes to do. Marianne Hampton coming back, I think, at a good time for them. They need to see some returns from a first-round draft pick. And 15 carries for 61 yards, nothing crazy, but like that's a solid clip. They'll need him for the playoffs. So, yeah, it's really crazy to see how that division has turned out because we've been hearing for years how these other teams, even the Raiders for a little bit, we still had Carr and Devontae Adams, like everyone was trying to pick one of these teams over the Chiefs, and this is the year it finally happened. The year right after they went to the Super Bowl, which is just unreal. So, yes, it's The
Yeah.
AFC is just continuing to prove how random, unpredictable it's been this year.
Right. And yeah, I kind of touched on that before where, even though the Bills are technically the sixth seed right now, other than the Broncos, it's kind of like, is any team really scared of one another? Just because I'm looking at the playoff picture right now, and I will say the Texans are a bit of a dark horse right now because Stroud has been playing a lot better in the last few weeks, and that defense is legit as they come. So yeah, and then looks like Steelers and Chargers would be one of the other matchups. Jags, Bills, the others. I mean, that Steelers Chargers game. I mean, first off, just PU. That's going to be such a bad game to watch. But
The Chargers finally pull it out, though. I think they might have it this year for a playoff
Yeah.
for Herbert.
no, for sure,
Finally for Herbert.
you can't you can't underrate too having a good coach in the playoffs is going to actually help them now. Finally, too. So
100%.
all right, but let's switch over to the 4 o'clock games. Let's switch conferences as well. I guess technically in conference matchup, Green Bay versus Broncos. I would say, honestly, the 4 o'clock slate was pretty good this week. But just going to that game real quick, obviously, kind of the same thing where the Parsons injury is really going to take like the bulkhead of media and what everyone's talking about now, looking kind of like, can the Packers make a run in the playoffs without him? But I'll actually just want to talk about the Broncos real quick, man, because all season I've kind of just assumed they were going to fall off at some point, to be honest with you. And their that performance, they're legit. And I still have some questions about Bo Nix just because young quarterback, obviously who knows what's going to happen in the playoffs. But I mean, 23 of 34, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. That defense with Patrick Surtain is legit too. I mean, when you have a shutdown corner like that, whoever he's on is just not getting the ball that week. So when they play some of these teams with better receivers, they're going to be able to just put Surtain on them in man coverage and say, hey, everyone else, just make sure you don't screw up too badly. But I thought this game was awesome, honestly. This is one of those games where you're watching and you're like, it's good to watch two good football teams just go back and forth with one another. But yeah, Nico, what were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, my big story is actually in the Packers. Just when
Mhm.
you think this team's really good in the possible Super Bowl, like they can win the Super Bowl, they just do something that brings me back. That like I get shocked about, and like my big thing is finishing drives. Like the amount of times I see Jordan Love on a weekly basis, just settle for three or anything like that, or forced to like fourth and short situations. It happens constantly. Shout out Brandon McManus though, great field goals. I think he had 4 or 5 field goals in this game. But I one of the people that are opposite. I like Bo Nix. I love Sean Payton. I like the Broncos, but I'm not 100% sold on them that can win the Super Bowl. Obviously, they're the number one team in the AFC. I just can't see. I just can't see them beating Josh Allen, even if it's at Mile High. I just really can't see it yet. This was a big win for them, and I'd say I'm very impressed with them. But I'm still not all in on the Denver Broncos, and I don't know why, but that's just how I feel, and that's my honest opinion. But yeah, Packers I really think are really good, but like those games earlier in the year, the Panthers versus the Browns, like they just do these things that I don't understand. And that was a game where a lot of they just looked flat footed, like at a certain point where they just stalled constantly throughout the game.
Right. Yeah, there are definitely moments, and I think it's one of those things too with Jordan Love where week in and week out, you really just don't know which guy you're going to get. There are some weeks where it's like, oh, wow, this guy looks like he could lead a team to a Super Bowl. And then there's weeks like this where you're kind of like, oh, man, this guy looks unsure with every decision he's making out there. But Mark, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the Broncos really are solidifying themselves as the one seed,
Mhm.
most likely. Um, just between the defense, like Robert, you were saying, and Bo Nix having the best game of his career,
Mhm.
probably. Um,
Fair.
I know he's kind of takes some time to get going, and he kind of pull it together at the end in the fourth quarter a lot of the times throughout the season. But I think this game was just a consistent performance from start to finish. So I think you have nothing but to be pleased if you're a Broncos fan in the quarterback department. But as I do think they're probably going to win the one seed, what they do in the playoffs kind of yet to be seen. Um, they played the Bills in the wild card last year and they lost 31-7.
Yeah.
That's a game on the road going across the country. So in Mile High, I'm sure that's definitely an advantage for them. But and then you look at Green Bay, and it's this kind of might be going in the opposite direction. I mean, Parsons, you hate to see that, especially after trading so much, giving him such a big contract. That's the last thing you need, especially in the playoffs. But Christian Watson, that's another underrated loss for them. And I know it was out for a lot of the year, but right when he came back, he really kind of proved that he's just one of the faster receivers in the league and a real weapon. So they're going to need Matthew Golden to step up to really fill that void. But
for sure.
But the Bears, they're kind of emerging as that leader as the Lions lose again. So it's getting interesting in each conference. But yeah, I'd say Denver is the best team in the AFC regular season wise. We'll see in the playoffs. I still feel pretty good with Buffalo.
Yeah, I would imagine you would, and I guess we should just get into it now, talking about both Mahomes and Parsons, since we just touched on it briefly. Obviously, just two horrible injuries from one of the top quarterbacks in the league to probably the top defensive one of the top defensive guys in the leagues as well. So, obviously this season, like I was saying before, the Chiefs still might have lost that game, and we're probably going to lose that game, regardless if Mahomes got hurt or not. So I kind of want to look ahead a little bit into the future, and I guess the question I have to pose is, which injury is going to impact the team more? Obviously, you would think Mahomes, just because that's going to be the quarterback. That's kind of like the bedrock of the foundation. But I think the Chiefs have some rebuilding they need to do, regardless of whether Mahomes is on the field or not. I think we all know Kelsey's done this year. I mean, he hasn't really made it much of a secret either. And if Mahomes is going to be out for a portion of next season, I would be shocked that if Kelsey continued to play. And they need a running back, man. Like they have a few different ones in the backfield, Hunt, Pacheco, but they're just getting nothing from them. And you notice that Mahomes is getting a lot of pressure this game too. So let's go to Nico. I guess the question is, do you think that the injury is a little more impactful for the Packers or the Chiefs?
I think it's more impactful for Kansas City, just because both, I mean, obviously are arguably the best players on either side of the ball, but it's just so hard to lose a guy like Mahomes.
Right.
Not saying that Parsons can't single-handedly win you games, because he does. The only thing that really, really sucks about an injury like this is the time of the year. Like happening this late in the season, the fact that it's going to impact next season, you can't get an off season, you can't really even get a training camp. Like it's very hard for both players. As much as you want to say it, I do think Parsons might come back stronger and a little faster, just because a little bit younger, not as much wear and tear as Mahomes has. But as a standpoint from either organization, I really think it impacts the Chiefs slightly more.
Right. And I'm happy you said the speed thing, just because I do think Parsons can probably come back quicker than Mahomes, but at the same time, he relies on obviously that explosiveness and that speed so much more than Mahomes too. So it's going to be, I mean, obviously I hope he turns back to the player he was before the injury, but feels like a lot of the times, like those ACL, Achilles, those kind of like tendon, even when they come back, they still need some time to like get back into the flow of game, which might be a little bit harder for a defensive guy who relies so much on his speed and agility like a Parsons, compared to Mahomes, where obviously he's not mobile, but he made all that money through his arm. So, Mark, same question to you. What are you kind of thinking of this situation?
I think it's really just boils down to the positional value. So I think it does impact Kansas City more. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if Mahomes has to go on the pup list and miss first 6 weeks of the year, that's could put them in a hole that would be hard to dig out of. I mean, they couldn't dig out of a hole this year with Mahomes. So yes, I think the team does need to rebuild. And Travis Kelsey to potentially like players like Chris Jones and some of the more higher paid guys on the offensive line and like Nick Bolton, some of the world. So they have to kind of go to the drawing board, I think, and why not when Mahomes is recovering from injury? I think it's probably
Right.
a good time and it's necessary. So we'll see what happens. I mean, ACL surgeries and recoveries have been quicker than ever. So I don't know, maybe Mahomes doesn't go on the pup list and he's ready for week one. I mean, I don't think he should. I think he should probably just kind of slow roll this one. And the Chiefs as an organization need to really play this the right way. For the
Yeah.
Packers, I mean, it's like Parsons is being paid $47 million a year, and you just gave up assets to get him a starting defensive tackle. So traded all that away for someone that's sitting on the shelf. I mean, it might not show up record wise because they do have like Rashawn Gary and a couple other guys on the defensive line, but it's financially that's a big chunk that's basically just sitting there not helping your team.
Right. Right. And obviously the big thing with Parsons and why it kind of blew up with Dallas too was the guaranteed money aspect as well. So I mean, luckily he was able to get his contract situation kind of sorted out before this injury happened, just because if this might have happened last year going into a contract year, who knows how many millions of dollars that might have cost him. NFL is a fickle business. So, but let's go back into the Week 15 action. Another great 4 o'clock game. Lions against the Rams. Rams coming out on top in a shootout, 41-34. Mark, what were your thoughts on this one?
I think the Rams are just kind of cruising to the one seed at this point. Uh,
Yeah.
Stafford's just playing out of his mind, and they were down early, but they took care of Detroit. Um, Detroit just kind of I don't know. They might miss the playoffs at this point. Uh, Letting a lead like that slip, it makes me question Dan Campbell's leadership really. And I'm getting kind of tired of the fourth down decisions and stuff. And I don't know. I expect more of the Lions from after what I've seen the past couple of years. But for the Rams, back to them, the Devontae Adams injury is nothing to be ignored. I mean, he, I will say, I drafted that guy in all my fantasy leagues, and it paid off.
So,
I got amazing value off Devontae Adams this year, and I mean, he's just like almost like their go-to like red zone option. Just like how many 1 yard touchdown catches does this guy have? So he was kind of like their X factor, and I hope he's back and healthy in time for the playoffs because those hamstrings can be tricky. But
Right.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, we probably should have talked about Adams when we were talking about that Parsons. It was a horrible week in the NFL for injuries, honestly.
oh yeah,
It, I saw a few different like tweets and articles about there's definitely been significantly more serious injuries, I feel like, in the NFL the last year or two. And you have to wonder how much of that comes down to them playing so many more games than normal. And obviously I'm not going to be the guy that's up here, feeling bad for these guys just because they make absurd amount of money for that pressure and for that injury risk. But it's one of those things where you got to wonder if the NFL is looking at this as like, yeah, we're making a lot more money having an extra week of football, but is the product becoming worse because we're losing all these players for, multiple week injuries. But Nico, what were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, no, this was one of the games where I had before the year started as one of my games of the year potential. And the
Mhm.
game overall delivered. It was a fun game to watch. There's back and forth action. But the one thing I will say is um, Detroit's when they can't run the ball, they really just can't win football games when they can run it consistently. When you don't have Gibbs to break off a 20-yard run every
Mhm.
six carry, they really typically do struggle. But to touch on the Devontae Adams take, the good thing is, and I said this a couple weeks ago on the pod, this is where I think having a Thursday game is a good advantage for you. Because now he gets 14 days off. You figure if they play it on Sunday this week, they're going to do everything that he can play. He might retweak it like Mike Evans did earlier in the year. Something like that could happen. I think it's a good thing that you play on a Thursday. Yeah, you're a little banged up, but hey, short week. You're going to rest them. It's like a built-in bye for them. They get healthy for a little playoff run and playoff push at the number one seed. Um, but yeah, the Rams, they're the clear cut favorite, in my opinion, to win the Super Bowl. They're also the clear cut Matthew Stafford, and we'll get into this in a little bit, is a clear cut the MVP, in my opinion. But yeah, all around the great team. Detroit is so fun to watch as a team. But as Mark mentioned, like when does Dan Campbell become in question? I personally love the guy, but yeah, this is the year we really thought they were going to come out of the NFC. And like you said, we're 3 weeks left in the season, and they might not even making the playoffs. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting because last year and the year before, Dan Campbell was kind of everyone's darling, where it's like, oh, and he does deserve obviously a lot of credit for turning the Lions down. Obviously, since we've all been alive, a historically bad franchise,
Yep.
and I can only count how many years that they were going 2-14, 0-16, whatever the case. So, but when you watch the games, it's just kind of like there's one or two decisions a game with him where you're just like, I understand you want to be aggressive, man, but like, do you really need to be right now? And you have to, some of the players have to be wondering that too. Like, if you're Detroit's defense and your team's going for it, fourth and whatever on the other side of the field, you're kind of just like, all right, well, like, what do you want us to do, man? And you're giving them 30 yards of field to work with. And with these kickers now, too, if you don't get a first, if you turn the ball over on the other side of the field, you're essentially putting the other team in field goal range if they get one first down. So I do agree. I think the Rams are in a pretty good position to come out of the NFC right now. Obviously, huge Thursday night game this week between them and the Seahawks that we'll get into for a little bit later. That's going to be one of those can't miss games. Like that's going to tell us a lot about who the Rams are, even without Devontae Adams. And like at some point, Darnold has to win one of these games. But we'll get into that a little bit later when we do the pick 'em. Let's head back to our favorite division, the NFC South, where absolute this is one of those games where there were so many other good games on. If you had that St. Panthers game on, you're either a fan of one of those teams or you had a bet on it. So,
That's
Nico, do
right.
you have any action on that game or?
Yeah, I have action almost every. Yeah, I have
Okay,
sports
gotcha,
TV set up. I don't miss the game, so there was definitely action
gotcha,
on this one.
gotcha. What'd you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of was rooting for Bryce Young. I'm rooting for them. I was Bucks
Mhm.
lost on Thursday. I was excited. I was like, oh, like this could be great. Carolina's going to be a front runner in the division, and yeah, I mean, they're still in the lead of the division right now, technically, I believe. But that
The
game,
Bucks technically are right now,
it's
and
the Bucks
they
tiebreaker.
both
They
have the
play
same
this.
record. So they're both 7-7, at least
Okay.
according to yeah, at least according to what I'm looking at in Score Mobile, the Bucks are in the lead, so they probably have some sort of weird tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but which
yeah,
will probably be
go on.
they play twice in the next 3 weeks. So
Right.
I'm excited to see that anyway. What happens? But like I think the Saints are terrible. I want to go back. I did say earlier in this year, I did say the Saints were the worst, going to be the worst team in NFL history, but that was with the assumption that Spencer Rattler was their quarterback. I will say that. I think he's the worst quarterback
Yeah.
they're going. Um, but yeah, it was one of those games, kind of similar to the game on Thursday, just like a sloppy divisional game that hats off to the Saints for pulling off. But yeah, personally, I just really want to see Carolina win this division because I think it would be interesting.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's funny. I actually think the Saints don't have a good roster, and obviously they still have questions with the quarterback. But I think Kellen Moore is going to be a pretty good head coach in this league.
I agree.
He's done a lot more with this roster than a lot of coaches would. But Mark, did you get a chance to watch much of this one? What were your thoughts?
No, I didn't get to watch too much of this
Yeah.
one.
Good for you, man. You didn't need to.
Yeah. I was pretty wiped after that 1 o'clock game, Robert. Those games take a lot out of me. No, this is just like we were saying earlier. Like how the Bucks just should have been taking care of Atlanta at this point. You know, you got the Saints; they're out of playoffs. Like, come on, Carolina! Like this is your opportunity to get a home playoff game. You know, but the Saints just kind of they've been scrappy. I'm not going to say they're the best team or the worst team, but definitely not the best team. But Tyler Shuck, he kind of is impressing me a little bit here. 24 32 for 272 and a touchdown. He's just kind of quietly leading this team, like with not much to work with, obviously. But he I don't know. Maybe they will think twice about drafting a quarterback high next year.
Right.
So I know the class isn't great either. So it's like, why not keep seeing what you have in Shuck? It's not Rattler. Kind of we're over that experiment. But
right.
Yeah, it's just you're encouraged by Tyler Shuck, but like Bryce Young, like this was your time to step up, and you didn't. But neither did Baker on the other side. So they're both at 7-7 and play each other twice over the next 3 weeks. So it's gonna be some entertaining NFC South football.
For sure. And I've made my thoughts pretty well known about Bryce Young on this podcast, so I won't give him too much grief again. I just really don't think that guy is a good quarterback. But yeah, we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks with that division. And obviously it's pretty much just going to sort itself out with those two playing one another. The good thing with both those teams is they can go into those locker rooms and say, hey, listen, bad loss this week, but our whole season is still right in front of us with these two upcoming games. But let's head over to old man Mr. Rivers, somehow still playing NFL football. And he didn't exactly light it up this week, but I mean, honestly, for what you're getting from a guy that literally was doing something with his 10 kids 10 days ago, and now he's coming back and playing a good Seahawks team, for them to end up only losing by 2 points, like pretty impressive. And a little bit of a weird game for the Seahawks, just because I think most people going into that game would have been like, all right, well, who knows with Rivers, Seahawks should, kind of just put him away easily. And all year they've been one of those teams, man, where they look so good at certain moments when Darnold's just spinning it to JSN and they're moving the ball down the field and everything looks great. Then all of a sudden, 3 bad plays and they're kicking another field goal. And in modern NFL, field goals don't win games. Now, luckily, they pretty much did this week. So, Mark, what were your thoughts on this one?
First thought is that field goals win games when your kicker is Jason Myers of the Marist College Red Foxes. So, gotta give him a shout out for going 6 for 6 from that alma mater.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it's kind of surprised. It surprised me like how good the Colts defense played, and really gave Philip Rivers a chance to kind of pull this one out. But yeah, it's hard to compete when you have a kicker like that. It's kind of sad to see Rivers out there in a way. Like, it's encouraging, but like it shows the state of the quarterback position. If he was healthy, I would have rather seen what Riley Leonard had at this point. The rookie quarterback from Notre Dame, has some athleticism. I know the Colts really, really wanted to make the playoffs because of how hot they started, but as soon as Daniel Jones had that leg injury, the Achilles as well, um,
Yep.
it was hard to see them really making a serious run. And
Yeah.
when you're throwing 27 times and only having 120 passing yards, like I don't know, your effectiveness has kind of fallen off, and his arm wasn't great in 21, so it's like 4 years later, it's not going to get better.
Right. And I kind of mentioned this briefly earlier when we were talking about the Falcons game, but Colts could be a team for Kirk Cousins next year. I could definitely see him being in Indiana next year. I mean, got a good line, obviously have good receivers, have Jonathan Taylor. If I guess it all hinges on whether they want to wait for Daniel Jones to recover, or you never know, they might just draft a QB this year too. But Nico, what were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I just want to touch on what you said real quick. I think Tua can end up as a Colt. I wouldn't be too surprised
God willing.
if that did happen. But yeah, I'm a big Philip Rivers guy. One of my favorite players of all time, if not my favorite. I was so excited for this game just to see Philip Rivers back in action. Yeah, like it's kind of what you expected. Like can't really move, can't throw the ball downfield. I thought he did a good job game managing it from a standpoint. Obviously the interception at the end, not really much you can do. But yeah, as Robert mentioned, like field goals won't win you games in this league. They will like get you there, and obviously it worked this week, but that's not going to work come January. It's not going to work come off February if you're lucky enough to get there. That won't win you games, and unfortunately, for the Colts, I thought it was really disrespectful that Vegas had them as a 13.5 point underdog, just knowing everything. But hey, Colts battled this whole entire game as a 13.5 point underdog. You lose by 2 points, you got to be thrilled. And I wish they did pull it off. Would have been really cool to see Philip Rivers get a dub in his game back.
Yeah, I've always obviously he had some good battles against the Pats during his heyday, so I can't say I was ever a huge fan, but I can't lie, I found myself rooting for him in this one just because I thought the story would be pretty cool that this 44-year-old could literally come off the couch and win an NFL game still. And real quickly, it's just like it's almost kind of an indictment on a lot of these younger NFL quarterbacks now that they have to call up Phil Rivers to essentially come in and play reliever for the last part of the year. Like something I was going to say during that Pats Bills game that I forgot to mention. Honestly, it's rare in the NFL now where you get to watch two good quarterbacks go at it with one another. It's usually like one and then just the other one is who knows. Even like a lot of those mid-tier guys, I feel like have kind of taken a step back in terms of like skill and quality and just honestly confidence. So having a consummate professional like Phil Rivers in the building, the good thing with him is he might not have been able to win you the game, but he's not the reason you lost the game either. So, want to give a huge shout out to him. And yeah, now let's go
Yeah,
to Sunday night. Go ahead.
Can I say one thing real quick? Yeah, I don't mean
Yeah, of
to. I
course.
forgot the one thing I have in my notes. I forgot to bring up. AR-15. You drafted Anthony Richardson 4th overall 2 years ago. Like there has to be something going on behind the scenes. Like I know he tapped himself out of the game last year. I know stuff like that, but like this is crazy. This is crazy that you're fighting for a playoff spot and you were the number 1 seed 4 weeks ago, and you're not even looking this kid's way. Like there has to be something going on. There has to be.
Yeah, it could just be one of those things, man, where they gave him enough chances and he just can't do it for whatever reason. But
Fair.
yeah, I mean, you really have nothing to lose at this point, though, putting him out there. So
Fair.
yeah, but let's head to Sunday night, Vikings Cowboys. I wonder if Brian actually was busy this week, or if he just couldn't stomach coming on after another Cowboys loss. You know what's great about the Cowboys is they give their fans hope. They give them hope. They beat the Chiefs on Thanksgiving. It's the Cowboys' year. We them boys, we're back. Everything. and then they just lay a couple goose eggs, and now they're pretty much out of the playoffs. It's just a beautiful thing to see every year. But I will say too, just going to the Vikings real quick. This win, I think, was obviously they're pretty much out of the playoffs as well, but I think JJ McCarthy really needed this game, probably for the confidence in himself, but also to kind of instill some confidence back into the Vikings fan base for him. Because honestly, the last few weeks, there have been some wild names thrown around that Vikings fans would rather have at QB than JJ McCarthy. And I think he did a good job kind of instilling that confidence back into the fans where this still might be the guy. And the thing with like QB development, it's not linear. Like if a guy isn't good right away, who knows? Like there's been so many examples of guys where that have had like average or mediocre first years that have gone on to be solid quarterbacks. So I really don't want to count him out yet. Obviously, this week did great wonders for his confidence moving forward. But yeah, Mark, what do you think of this one? Hopefully, you enjoyed seeing the Cowboys lose as much as I did.
Yeah, I enjoyed it for sure.
Yeah, hard not to.
You know, we hear it from a couple of our friends. My dad's a Cowboys fan, but he's usually pretty grounded. He was happy after the Eagles win, but he was tempering his expectations for good reason. But
Right.
just going back to Vikings, I think you're right, Robert. Like, you can't just be writing off number 9 too quick here. Um, you got to let these guys develop. I saw it with Josh. Rob's seen it with Drake. Um, some of these better quarterbacks, like they take a year, maybe two, and you got to have the patience when you're investing that kind of draft capital. And he had a solid game. He threw for 250 yards, a couple touchdowns, threw a pick, but he just kind of looked like he was throwing with confidence, and he needed it for his confidence going forward. Um, so yeah, maybe they don't have to invest as heavily in the quarterback position if he can play like he played tonight for the next 3 weeks. We'll see about that.
Right.
But yeah, Dallas is essentially out of it. I think they'd have to win out, and Philly would have to lose out, which I just don't see happening.
Yeah.
They just they got a lot of people excited a couple weeks back, and they were primed to make a run, and losing to the Lions, losing to the Vikings, it's kind of slipped through their hands, and on to next season.
Right. Right. And them losing is one thing. I think the manner in which they lost both of those games too was pretty bad. Like their defense just has so many clear holes in it right now. I mean, giving up 34 points to the Vikings, giving up it was a lot to the Lions as well. Yeah, giving up 44 to the Lions as well. It's just like Dak is a solid quarterback and he's going to get you points, but when you're giving up 30 plus, like no quarterback is really going to be able to win you the bulk majority of those games. But Nico, what'd you think of this one?
Yeah, this was actually one of my favorite bets of the day, and I was scared all day that one of my favorite bets was on 9. But yeah, they got the job done, won the game outright. But yeah, this is just typically the story of the Cowboys. It's been for the past 3-4 years now. It's just like we're going to lose games, high scoring games. We're going to throw the ball around. CD's going to get his 100 yards, and then we're going to move on to next week. So nothing really has changed there. But yeah, as you guys both said, like you both witnessed it with both your franchise quarterbacks. You can't really fault him. He's getting bashed all over social media. Everywhere I look, it's either a JJ meme about 9 or whatever the case is. He's just getting bashed. But yeah, my concern point from the Vikings though is where is Justin Jefferson? I don't know if it's an issue where he just can't get on the ball or he's not getting open, but like the fact that he threw for 250 plus yards and Jay Jettis had 22 receiving yards is a little concerning to me. Like you got to get your playmakers the ball. That's how you're going to win games. And yeah, big win, like you said, big for his confidence. But that would be my concern if I'm a Vikings fan. Is one is Jay Jettis happy? You don't want an AJ Brown situation on your hands because he is the best receiver in football still, in my opinion. But it's concerning. It's concerning.
No, for sure. And it's one of those things where I think both of these teams have an opportunity to be pretty decent next year, but they both have some pretty obvious concerns that they're going to need to address in the offseason. Cowboys on the defensive side, I think Vikings would do well to maybe draft a couple of linemen just so McCarthy doesn't need to run for his life every few plays as well. But let's switch over to Monday Night Football. We had the Steelers against the Dolphins. Steelers scoreline is honestly looks a lot closer than that game felt. Steelers at no point didn't really have control of that game, and I guess it's easy to do so when you have future Indianapolis Colts quarterback Tua and or future University of Hawaii offensive coordinator Tua as well. Could be either one next year, honestly. But yeah, I mean, this was one of those games where as I was watching it, like I looked like at no point did I expect the Dolphins to win. And a lot of that is just you look at Tua's stats and 22 of 28, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick, and you're like, he had a decent game. And then if you go back and watch it, those 2 touchdowns were basically in garbage time. A lot of his completions are just basically screens to either Chan Waller, Jalen Waddle, etc. And I do have to give credit to McDaniels just because I feel like he almost saved his job this year. Well, he definitely saved his job, but I think he was able to win enough games despite of Tua. Like if I were to just assume, like he probably had to go to the Dolphins ownership at one point and just be like, listen, man, I don't know what you really want me to do when this is my quarterback. So yeah, impressive win by the Steelers nonetheless, still in control of that AFC North. Obviously, that's probably going to come down to the last week of the season between them and the Ravens. But Mark, what were your thoughts on this one? I know you're a big Tua guy, so.
Oh yeah, huge too. I do not want to see him go to the Colts. Please stay with the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Stay with the Dolphins as long as possible. I'm fine with it. But yeah, the Steelers and the Ravens. That's really going to come down to the wire for that division. Steelers keeping pace, but I don't know. They're a tough team to really figure out. They have a lot of aging players on the defensive side of the ball, so they're a little shakier there. They take care of the Dolphins, but I'm sorry, like Tua can't play in the cold. Like he's never won in Buffalo. Like he's from Hawaii. Like we know this stuff. He plays in Miami. Like it's tough for every time he goes north. It's just something I don't see him ever being able to conquer at this point if he hasn't done already. And
yeah, for sure. It's one of those things where that guy is just the Colts would actually make a lot of sense just because all of his or the majority of his games are going to be indoors. And if they can be good enough to get some home playoff games, obviously weather won't be a factor. But Nico, what'd you think?
Yeah, it was a good one for the Steelers. My big thing about this game though was I don't know if you guys saw the game, like the whole game, but the last 6 minutes, what were the Dolphins doing? They just weren't going. They were huddling up. They were wasting 40 seconds of play. Like you were in a 14-point game for your playoff life here. Like I don't know what was going through Tua's and McDaniel's mind, but yeah. Pittsburgh, like you mentioned, Mark, the division's going to heat up. Going back to like a fantasy take, one thing I do want to share with the viewers and you guys, I saw the craziest thing that's going to make fantasy football the craziest thing ever. If the Steelers lose this week upcoming to the Detroit Lions and the Ravens beat the Patriots, week 17 means absolutely nothing for either team. And then week 18, they play each other for the division. So week 17 is fantasy football championship week. If you have Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, or like Metcalf on your team, Jalen Warren, yeah, I'd be nervous. I'd be rooting for the Patriots this week or rooting for Pittsburgh to beat Detroit. But yeah, I'm excited to see that Pittsburgh-Baltimore down the stretch because it's something that is going to be a great game week 18.
Oh yeah, for sure. And honestly, fantasy-wise, I get it, but I almost hope that week 18 game is a win and get in scenario because those are the most fun games in honestly all of sports. And that rivalry right there, that has a chance to be one of those games where fights happen, punches get thrown, like just a classic AFC North battle right there.
100%. It'll
But
be flexed to Sunday Night Football for sure. They'll
yeah,
definitely.
100%. It should be as well. Like how the Pats Ravens game got flexed Sunday night this week. It's the good thing with this part of the year is at least we know what the good games are, and they're actually putting them on Sunday night and for the better games. But now let's talk about some MVP odds. Now, it seems like Stafford has kind of taken a stranglehold on MVP this year. Right now, I'm looking at the odds. We got Stafford as a minus 300 favorite to win MVP. So it would take a colossal either injury or them to just be absolutely terrible the rest of the season for him to not get it. Then followed by Drake May plus 425, Josh Allen plus 550, and then very steep drop off after that with Bo Nix and Jordan Love, both 75 to 1. So really a 3-horse race at this point. And I guess the question we should ask is, do you guys essentially does Stafford have this locked up already, Nico?
I personally think so. I really think Stafford is a clear-cut MVP. I want him to win MVP. I think he's very deserving of it. But as a degenerate, my gambling advice I'll give the people out there is Bo Nix being plus 10,000. Again, should never win a plus 10,000 bet in your life. He just had a 4-touchdown game against the Packers, who have a great defense. If he continues to do 3+ touchdowns these last 3 weeks of the season and solidify the number 1 seed in the AFC, there's a legitimate argument there. Stafford doesn't have a great couple weeks, but besides that, you should not be betting this. I think it's clear-cut Stafford. I'm excited for him at 38 years old. Is that accurate? Is that how old he is?
Yeah, around there,
something like that. But I love him as a Stafford guy, and the Rams, right now, you're also a big favorite, according to Vegas, to win the Super Bowl. So you should be really excited. But as Robert mentioned earlier, massive game Thursday. Massive.
Right. And Mark, does Josh Allen have a chance to get the MVP, you think, or you think Stafford's got it locked up too?
I think Stafford is by far the favorite. Last time I talked about the MVP on this podcast, I believe Brian was on, and he was really pushing for Dak to become the MVP if they won out in one division. And we kind of gave him like that third slot in the Drake May and Stafford conversation. Well, I think Josh Allen is officially taking that spot as the reigning MVP, as he's performed the last 3 weeks. We took touchdown passes last week, really kind of taking control in the second half. If he keeps having those moments and those 6 touchdown performances against the Bucks earlier this year, I think it's gonna make people hesitate a little bit more. And I still think he's the MVP, even if Stafford wins it. But I think Stafford's due. There's always that voter fatigue, even especially when they got it the year before. I think you could argue that Lamar Jackson should have been MVP last year, but they wanted to give Josh Allen his due. So it might be the same sort of thing. Like Josh Allen has the same number of total touchdowns as Stafford, but I think just the fashion in which Stafford has gotten his 37 passing touchdowns, which is crazy at this point in the year. It's looked a little better on paper, and still think it's Stafford's award at this point. But I gotta consider Josh, especially after a game like this past Sunday.
No, for sure, and there's no, even if Stafford wins or Drake May or Bo Nix, any of these guys, you're still going to take Josh Allen in a game against any of those guys. So that should probably speak more to than an MVP award. Real quickly, though, I just want to give a shout out to someone. I wish the Browns were at least had a competent record, because Myles Garrett is the best just football player in the NFL. He's probably did he already set the NFL single season sacks record? I feel like I saw something about that.
He has a chance to against the Bills this weekend.
Gotcha. And even if he doesn't do it this week, he'll probably do it the week after or whatever. And who knows? He might end up with 4 or 5 more sacks in the record. It's plus 40,000. So, if you want to give DraftKings your money, feel free to, I guess. But he's not going to win MVP. But I think he just deserves a shout out for the season he's had on just a putrid Browns team. He's literally been the only reason to kind of watch them, unless you're a Shador fan or hate watching for Shador. So, but all right, let's get into some predictions for next week, boys. Week 16 coming down the stretch here. We've talked about it a little bit. We got an absolute banger for Thursday night. Rams at Seahawks. Seahawks are -1.5, so basically a pick-em either way. Right now it says Devontae Adams doubtful for hamstring. I don't think he's going to play, but Nico, what do you think for this one?
Yeah, great game. I'm super excited. Can see it going either way. It's going to be a prop game bet-wise for me. I'm going to wait and see some more lines tomorrow, but I'd like Seattle. Seattle at home in this atmosphere. Big game, short week. I think it plays the home team. And atmosphere, the past couple hours I've been seeing since about 6 p.m. tonight, there's a lot of flight issues going on with the Rams tonight, where I saw their plane broke down. Now they have to take a separate flight where the team and the coaches are on one plane, some staff are on the other plane. So there's some issues brewing in the past couple hours and out of Los Angeles. So I'm think that will play a factor in a short week, and give me Seattle.
Yeah, honestly, before you said all that, I was going to take Rams, but I'm such a sucker for stuff like that. So I'll be on the Seahawks.
That's fair.
I will say, like, I'm going to go on record here. I'm going to bet on the Seahawks. And if Darnold loses me more money, I'm out forever. But, Mark, what do you got in this one?
So I'm going to take Seattle based on the previous matchup in LA because even though Sam Darnold threw for 4 picks in that game, they were still a kick away from winning with my boy Jason Myers. So, you know what? I think the home field advantage, -1.5. I don't think that's much. So I think they can overcome that spread there. I'll take the over too, just because I just think you got
a little Thursday night shootout, huh?
Yeah. Why not? I mean, you got Stafford and Darnold, 2 of the best quarterbacks this year, I'd say. So, right. Yeah, I'm kind of on the same wave as you guys. I'm taking Seattle
for sure, and I'm sure the yards after the catch group chat will be going off during that game, talking about that. So, we're officially at the part of the year where we get some Saturday football, so that's fun too.
Yeah.
We got a couple games. Eagles at Commanders. Obviously, I'll take the Eagles to both win and cover. Not much to say about that. Eagles need to essentially win out just to make sure they lock up the division, and the Commanders have their eyes on 2026. But Mark, any thoughts on that one?
Not much. I think the Raiders were a good kind of propelling game for the Eagles to take care of business. I know this is like the first of 2 they play against the Commanders. They just have so much more to lose than the Commanders at this point because the Commanders have lost for the season. So, the Eagles covering. I'll take the under. I don't really see the Commanders scoring much on this defense.
Okay, how about you, Nico?
I'm going to go with the Eagles. As Mark mentioned, I do think last week was a tune-up game versus the Raiders to get back on track, and I think they have another consecutive game before going into Buffalo next week. So I really think this is something the Eagles need to do, get their mind right, get their team right, because it was a struggle the past 6 or 7 games for the team. So I think this is another game where they could go out, dominate, and I think they will. And I'm excited for that matchup in Buffalo week 17.
Nice, yeah. Let's go to the NFC North now. Huge game, honestly. 8:20 on Saturday, so going to be the marquee game of the day. We got the Bears -1.5. Going to be home against the Packers, and I guess I'll start off with this one. Give me the Bears. I think that they showed me a lot in that loss to the Packers a few weeks ago. And my biggest question with that was, could Caleb Williams, you know, put up enough points to beat a Packers team? And while they only scored 21 points, that game was a really good game. And I thought Caleb looked pretty good. And all year, the Bears have been a pleasant surprise to me. So give me the Bears in this one. And obviously, no Parsons. That's going to play a huge impact in this game as well. But Nico, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it's a huge game, arguably the game of the week, besides including Thursday Night Football. But yeah, I'm gonna also take the Bears. They impressed me at Lambeau Field 2 weeks ago in that matchup. A little quick turnaround, playing them right again. I really think Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson and the boys pull it off.
Nice. How
Yeah,
about you, Mark?
I think we're sticking together for the first three here. I'm taking the Bears, at home, really just overachieving this year with Ben Johnson. I'd say really inspiring that locker room. We talked about Green Bay's injuries. That's going to hurt them, especially in a divisional matchup in Chicago. Uh, Give me Chicago covering, and I'll take the over here because Jordan Love and Caleb Williams. These are two high flying offenses. I still think Green Bay's got some some weapons with Jacobs and Golden,
Right.
a couple other receivers. So, uh, but I am in agreement with you guys, Chicago.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a statement game for the Bears to let everyone know they are legit. But let's move over to Sunday, 1 o'clock. Let's start off with the Bills against the Browns. 10.5 point spread. So Vegas isn't expecting this one to be too close. I would assume none of us really are either. Really, the storyline is going to be Myles Garrett. I would assume if he can get the sack record this week, would be kind of poetically cool if he got the sack record against the current best quarterback in the NFL. That would be at least one positive storyline for the Browns this year. With all that being said, give me the Bills to both win and cover. So, Mark, I'm assuming don't have too many worries this week, right?
Not too many. I hope we get to the point in this game where we can put in Mitch Trubisky so we can prevent that from happening.
Oh, Money Mitch.
My boy Josh, but the Browns have a pretty good defense, so I
Right.
really hope things don't get sticky. If James Cook can't run the ball for some reason, or Josh doesn't have enough time to work some balls downfield. But I just think after the past 3 weeks, I think the Bills are kind of on a little bit of a run. Historically, with Josh Allen, they're very good in December, and Cleveland's only a couple hours away from Buffalo. Their neighbor on Lake Erie there, so I think they will take care of business. Just run the ball, keep using the tight ends. So give me the Bills covering, and I'll take the under here, just because I think they're gonna really stop Shador from
Right.
back there. McDermott's pretty good against rookies.
Right. How about you, Nico?
I've been fading Shador nonstop since he got the starting job, and it's been pretty
Nice.
successful. So, plan on doing the same thing. But my big thing about this game, and Mark, I bet you can agree, is I think this is a big game for the Buffalo defense. I really think the Buffalo defense really has to prove themselves this week and really go after Shador and get ready for that playoff push. The one thing I also want to say, if I was a Bills fan, what an aggressive D line, Myles Garrett. Just you want to get out of this game healthy. This time of the year, I know you never want to talk about injury or anything like that, but just do everything you can to protect 17. Everything this week.
Yeah.
That would be my goal this week in Cleveland.
Yeah, for sure. The biggest thing of this game for the Bills is going to be Josh getting out of it healthy. But let's switch over. Interesting line in this one. Chargers at the Cowboys. Cowboys are -2.5, which is a little bit surprising in my opinion. I guess you can look at it as the Cowboys need to win this game. It's a literal must win for them for their small chances of being able to stay in the playoffs. Herbert being hurt. God, the whole world is just going to be on the Chargers this game. Give me the Cowboys -2.5, I guess. What do you think, Nico?
Yeah, I'm on the Cowboys.
Yeah.
When I said this many times in the show, but when Vegas says a line and everyone looks at like what the hell's going on there, that's when you jump right on it. And I'll be
Right.
betting with Vegas this week. Give me the Cowboys. I won't take 2.5 though, money line for sure, because I could see the Cowboys winning by like
Yeah.
one or something crazy.
Yeah, this feels like one of those games where there's like a safety that just throws off the entire point spread. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I hear you guys, but I'm going to take the Chargers this time. I just kind of see them grinding out another game with Harbaugh. I could see Hampton having a good game against Dallas. I just think they've probably lost a lot of morale in that locker room, after that huge win in Philly and then the following 2 weeks just falling short. Um, there's probably not much hope to sneak in at this point. So I just think the Chargers are in a good position to, take the next step. And I think with the points, I think they cover. And
Right.
I will take the over here. Or no, actually, give me the under. I'm sorry, because
Yeah,
I see the Chargers just running the ball.
Yeah, 49.5. It is a high total, so definitely could see the under coming in here. Next, yeah, if you're watching the Jets Saints game, you probably have a gambling problem. So let's just go straight to the Bucks Panthers.
My game of the week, guys. No,
yeah, Bucks -3 at Panthers. This is one of those two NFC South games we alluded to. At Panthers for the first one. Give me the Bucks. I'm not putting any stock in Bryce Young still. How about you, Mark?
You know what? I'm going to take the Panthers at home. I think they play a lot better at home than on the road. And after last week, I mean, these teams both had bad weeks, but I just think the Panthers being at home, getting 3 points, I can see them pulling this one out. Getting Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard involved, and it's just the Bucks. Even though they got Evans and Godwin back last week, just couldn't figure it out. It's going to be a good game, but give me the Panthers, and I'll take the over in this one.
Okay. Nico?
My heart and my soul really want to say Carolina, but I just think Tampa Bay is better. So I'm going to lean Tampa Bay in this one. I really will be rooting for the Bryce Young. It's going to be very hard for me to bet Tampa Bay because I really just want Carolina to win this division, but give me Tampa Bay on Sunday.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun game, albeit it might be a little bit ugly. I can imagine, both teams are a little sloppy, but that'll be a fun one to watch. All right, let's go ahead and move forward. So we did Tampa Bay, Carolina. Let's switch over to Jacksonville Jaguars against the Denver Broncos. That's going to be another super interesting game. All year, it's a little similar. I've kind of looked at the Jaguars and the Chicago Bears kind of in the same light, where I'm like, all right, at some point they're going to fall off. But you got to give the Jaguars credit and Liam Cohen. They are a legit good team. And I don't think they're exactly a Super Bowl contender by any means, but I definitely could see them maybe winning a round in the playoffs, getting into that divisional round, and who knows from there. Got Trevor Lawrence had a good game last week, albeit against the Jets. So, but that Broncos team is so good. Broncos -3. You know what? Give me the Jags and the points. I kind of like a little bit of an upset here. Look, I could see a little bit of a letdown game from the Broncos after that big game against the Packers. How about you, Nico?
Yeah, I said it earlier. I didn't say about the Jags, but I do think both teams are slightly overrated. I'm not slightly sold on either team, but I do like Denver in this game. But one thing I do want to say I have in my notes is if Roger Goodell, this gets to you or anything like that, stop the 4:05 games. Last week, every single game was at 4:25. And as a gambler, I loved it. Like, it was great. 1 o'clock games ended that time to look at fantasy, check your bets, like, real quick. This is a game that should be a 4:25 prime game. They're fighting for the number one seed in the AFC, arguably. And it's a 4:05 game. Again, people might not think the 20 minutes is a big deal, but to me it is. But sorry about my rant, but give me the Broncos.
Okay, no worries, Ben. Mark, what are you thinking?
Yeah, no, this is one of the better matchups of the weekend.
For sure.
It made me realize that Jacksonville does have a chance at the 1 seed if things play out correctly for them. So they're going to really try and bring their best foot forward. It's a hardship for them. Playing in Denver is tough, and I just think I'm going to go off my takes from a recap earlier. I just think Denver is solidifying themselves as the 1 seed, and they beat the Packers, really handled them, one of the better teams in the league, and I think they'll do the same against the Jags. So give me Denver covering, but I will take the over here because Liam Cullen has the Jags really humming. I know it's the Jets, but 6 touchdowns for
Yeah,
Trevor Lawrence. That's nothing to scoff at. So I can see them
no, definitely not.
carrying that into this game being a shootout. So yeah, give me Denver covering, but I'll take the over.
And this is one of those games too where after this game, depending on it could either be one of those media narratives where, wow, the Jaguars are legit, or they lose in a not so competitive game and everyone's like, all right, well, they are who we thought they were essentially. But yep, real quick, we'll go to Raiders Texans. I guess we'll shout out Alex real quick. He couldn't be here this week, but let's give him some love and probably all pick the Texans, although it is a 14-point spread. 14-point spreads are not easy to cover in the NFL. Man, I can't see the Raiders scoring more than 10 points in this game, though. That's my only issue. So give me the Texans to cover the 14. Mark?
Yeah, as much as I'd love to see a Raiders upset here for playoff purposes, especially since the Texans have a head-to-head win against the Bills, I just can't pick against Houston at this point. With C.J. Stroud really figuring it out recently, their defense being the best in the league, in my opinion. It's a home game for them. It's tough to play in Houston, so I will take the Texans covering, and I'll take since they're covering that many points, I'll take the over.
Okay. Nico, any chance of a Raiders money line upset here or what?
No, and I actually want to say Texans are my pick to win the Super Bowl. I really think the
Oh,
Texans are gonna. That defense is filthy. I think C.J. Stroud's figuring it out. Nico Collins is figuring it out. Woody Marks got a little banged up this past week, but I really think the team is going to win the Super Bowl. I do believe that. But Robert, you hit it on the head, nail on the head. I think if the Raiders, it didn't get released yet, team total under ever came out, it's going to come out at like 12 and a half. I know it is. But if you can ever buy it up to 14 and a half and get it like minus 205, like it's going to be juiced up. They cannot score 3 times in this game. They physically cannot do it, I don't think.
no.
I just don't think it's mathematically possible for them to score more. So that line might be juiced up. It might even come out like minus 400, and I might be way off. But I like the team total under probably 12 and a half by the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, only way I could see that happening is if they got some sort of special teams or pick six kind of thing. But that offense is not going to be able to move the ball against the Texans. And just looking at the Super Bowl odds right now, Texans are plus 1,100 on DraftKings. So they actually got better odds than the Patriots now and same odds as the Eagles. So Vegas is, I think they're starting to agree with you a little bit there, Nico. Hopefully you got them at a better number, or you're going to hop in on this week, or you got them at a good number? Nice.
Yeah, I have them at plus 2,700, but not as much as I would like.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And another bet I might sneak, I might snipe the Ravens this week. Ravens are a possibility, just because I think you can get them this week. Because I really think Pittsburgh loses to Detroit. But I would bet that before Saturday. So.
Yeah, Ravens right now. It's never good when you have to keep scrolling.
All right.
But I don't even see him on the front page here. Oh no, plus 2,200. Excuse me. So 22-1. Yeah, I mean, listen, we'll get into that Pats game in a minute, but they're favorites in that game too. So, but let's go to their AFC North. The other team at the top of the division, Steelers at the Lions. Lions are minus 7 points. Another one of those games where it really is a must win for the Lions. So give me the Lions to win but not cover. I think the Steelers ultimately cover the 7 points, but the Lions win on like a field goal or something. How about you, Mark?
Yeah, I think that spread is a little bigger than I would have expected. So I agree. I think the Lions take care of business at home, but they don't cover here. I think Aaron Rodgers makes this game interesting. Playing in a
Right.
as a 40-year-old quarterback will help him out. So yeah, give me the Lions, but not covering. But I will take the over here just because I think Rodgers really kind of has made this offense kind of competent at the very least. So
Right. No, for sure. What are you thinking, Nico?
There's actually only one bet that I have placed so far this week, and it's you might have guessed it, but it's a money line parlay with Detroit money line and Baltimore money line. As you guys both mentioned, I really think seven's a weird spread for Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. Um, I would stay away from the spread, but I just don't see a world in a must-win game where Dan Campbell loses this game at home.
Okay, yeah. I mean, seems like we're all pretty much on that same line here, where I think the Lions are going to win, but 7 points, it's a lot in the NFL. Let's switch over to Sunday night, where my New England Patriots are heading to Baltimore. Huge AFC game for this one. Uh, both have huge divisional importance for both the Patriots in the AFC East, the Ravens in the AFC North. Ravens are -3. Man, I really wish this game didn't matter. But I mean, I'm not going to bet again. I'm not going to take against the Pats. So yeah, Pats +3. Feel great about it. Mark.
I'm going to take the Pats too. I kind of believe in Vrabel kind of righting the ship after
Mhm.
last week. The Ravens just there's been something off about them ever since Lamar got back from injury. Like, kind of thought they were going to just easily cruise to the division leader, but Steelers have been hanging around, and I believe in New England and what they've shown to this point. This would be a massive win for not only the division lead, but the possibility of getting back to the 1 seed. So I just think the Patriots have a little more to lose here, to be honest. So give me the Patriots um, covering with the points, and I will take the over because I think these are two.
Well, yeah, and Nico, I we kind of just got your prediction. Seems like you think
Yeah.
the Ravens are going to win this one, but what's your reasoning behind it?
I do must-win game for Baltimore. In my opinion, obviously big game for New England as well, but the Ravens at home. I am a Drake May guy. I'm not buying into they never played a real quarterback, all this nonsense. I'm not buying into that. Sorry, I had to bring it up, Robert. I'm not buying into everything besides like that, like what they're saying the past 10 games. Um, but I just think this is Baltimore's time, and Baltimore really figures it out this Sunday. And it's just unfortunate timing for Drake May and the Patriots.
Yeah, I honestly I don't feel great about this game, and we touched on it a little bit earlier. Not having Milton Williams is really a huge blow to this Patriots team. Now, hopefully Travion Henderson and some of the supporting cast can get going again this week. But yeah, that's going to be thankfully that got flexed to Sunday night, so I'll definitely be able to watch that and won't be at work or anything. But yeah, let's go over to Monday night now. We got the Niners at the Colts. We're giving Phil Rivers some Monday Night Football love now. I'm sure Peyton and Eli on the Manning cast are going to be wondering how they're not out there and Philip Rivers is. So um, Niners are -6. It's a great story, but I just think the Niners win and cover this game at the end of it. How about you, Nico?
I'm gonna go opposite. Give me the Colts, and I think the Colts might win this game outright. They
Wow.
were in that game versus Seattle. I think Seattle is better than San
Mhm.
Francisco, and I think uh, at home too. I think the Colts we get a Monday Night Miracle, a little Christmas miracle from Philip Rivers 2 days prior.
Nice. And Mark, let's finish with you.
Yeah, give me the Niners with this one. I just kind of I can't see Rivers holding up. I mean, I hope he doesn't get injured, but just throwing for 120 yards last week on 27 attempts, like his arm is just not there to produce at an NFL level. And I think San Fran has quietly had a very impressive year, like one of the better coaching performances of Shanahan's career, I'd say. CMC is still, I think, leading the league in scrimmage yards. Like he's just that guy, and they're just not being talked about for some reason. So I think maybe this is the game they need, a primetime performance against, Philip Rivers and the Colts to really solidify themselves as an NFC contender going into the playoffs.
For sure. And yeah, that'll do it for the matchups. Nico, did you have any bets you wanted to get off, or are we still looking at lines for the week?
Still looking.
Okay.
This time of the year with injuries, it's a little tough.
Right.
Puka's yards were at 91.5 earlier today, which I liked. But with the Devontae Adams injury, the number has been taken off the board for the time being. So you can't really even bet it right now, or if you do bet it, it's not going to be a fair line. Besides that, little shout out to Mark. One bet I did look at that I might be like is it's a little juiced up -140, but Myers over 1.5 field goals tomorrow. I do think it's a bet that is a good possibility.
Lock it in, Nico. Lock it in.
So it might be a sign. I was looking at it before the pod, so it might be a sign. Yeah, we might have to take it.
You've never found a podcast that has talked about Jason Myers more than this one right here tonight. But all right, that's going to do it for us tonight. If you're watching the pod, you like it, go ahead, like, subscribe, comment. You guys know what to do. But for both Mark and Nico, thank you so much for listening. And yeah, let's have a good week, boys.
Do it.
Good night.